This video is to show you how to open up and remove your NuTone IM or IMA 4406 master station for repair. The first step is to open up the IM or IMA 4406 master station. It's held in place with 4 screws. There are 2 on the left and the other 2 on the right are inside behind the CD player door. Using your Phillips screwdriver, loosen the screws. Once you get the screws loose on the CD player side, close the CD door. You don't want to accidentally bend it too far backwards and snap it off. Once the screws are loosened, the master station will fold down. In most installations, the master station will be supported by this clear strap, which has a hook inside the top of the rough-in. To release this, hold the master up slightly, wiggle the hook out of the hole that it's mounted in, and it will lean down further. The first thing to disconnect is the antenna. The antenna is this flat twin lead cable. If you follow it where it comes out of the wall housing down to the plug end at the bottom, you simply pull it up and it unplugs from the 2 antenna pins. A good idea when you're disconnecting things as you remove your master station is to use some masking tape, write on it what it is, and put it around the cable you've removed, so when you get your master station back from repair, you'll know this is the antenna and you'll hopefully remember where it goes. In the back of the wall housing is the terminal board. The terminal board is the card that all of the cables from all of the remote speakers are connected to, and the master station itself is simply plugged into 5 different sockets on the terminal board. They're labeled starting at the bottom as CN102, CN116, CN101, CN106, and down here on the bottom left corner is CN104. We'll start with CN102. Simply grab the wires near the connector, wiggle and pull, and it'll unplug. This is another opportunity to put a label on it if you care to mark where it goes. The nice thing about this type of design is each of these cables have a different width connector on them. The idea is that it would be difficult to plug them into the wrong locations. Now we'll unplug the rest. Here is CN116, CN101, we'll tuck those out of the way. We have CN106, and finally CN104. After you've unplugged the 5 cables that connect the master station to the terminal board, the next thing to disconnect is the chime module. The chime module is mounted in this black plastic bracket that's located at the left-hand edge of the power module. The chime module has 4 screws for wire connections. The end screw is a larger standoff than the other 3. This is the common terminal, and then you have front, side, and rear. In most installations, you'll have 1 wire connected to the common terminal and 1 wire connected to the front terminal. If you have a side door or a rear door, you may have additional wires, 1 under each of these screws, and the same number of wires under the common terminal. If you have one front door wire, you'll have one common wire. If you have a front door and a rear door, you'll have two wires under the common screw. All you have to do is loosen the screws and remove the wires. Again, this is a good opportunity to label the wires with some masking tape. Here's one for front, and here's one for common. The very last thing to disconnect so you can remove your IM or IMA 4406 from the wall housing are the wires that connect to the two transformers. The transformers are located in the bottom center of the wall housing. They're both contained inside the same metal box. There are two transformers. Each of them will have a red wire and a white wire connected to them. It does not matter what order the red and white wires are connected to the transformers. These are AC connections, so there's no polarity. So let's talk about these transformers for a second. These are large, powerful transformers. They're approximately 80 watts apiece, and due to their size, they each have built into them an internal fuse. If you were to accidentally short across the screw terminals with your screwdriver, you'll short the output of the transformer and you'll blow the internal fuse. That means the transformer is now ruined and you'll have to purchase a new one. These transformers, while they still are available today, they'll cost you about $45 a piece. So it's very important, unless you want to spend an extra $45 or $90, to turn the circuit breaker off. Once you've turned the circuit breaker off, you can then use your screwdriver, loosen the screws, remove that set, and the second set, and now your master station has been disconnected. You can see here there's a label on each transformer that says internal fuse. This is a good reminder. Turn the power off, otherwise you'll have to buy new transformers if you blow the... Once you've disconnected the transformers, to remove the set from the wall housing, tilt it up slightly, slide it forward on its hinges, slightly to the left, and lift it off. Now your 4406 has been removed and it's ready to be packaged up and shipped in for repair. Every 4406 came standard with the capacity of 9 remote stations plus the master station. The switches behind the left-hand door are standard on all 4406s. If you have a large home or a large installation, your installation may include an expansion kit. The expansion kit gives you an extra 6 switches behind the right-hand door, and it increases the capacity of your system to 15 plus the master station. If you have room control switches behind the right-hand door, it means that when you open up your master station, there'll be a few additional things to disconnect along with the standard items that you have to disconnect to remove it in every installation. These controls, loudness, system volume, bass, treble, and buttons for the clock and memory set, these are standard on all 4406s. The only thing that's additional with an expansion kit are the 6 extra room control switches. On an installation that includes an expansion kit, you'll have a second terminal board mounted on the right-hand side of the wall housing. This is the standard terminal board that's on all installations, and this is the terminal board on an installation that includes an expansion module. On an installation with an expansion kit, along with the expansion terminal board, there'll be an expansion circuit board that's been installed on the back of the master station. It'll be mounted in the lower right-hand corner, and it has 2 cables that come from the expansion board and plug into the expansion terminal board. You have this twin flat ribbon wire, and you have this multicolored ribbon wire at the top. These cables are rather long, And if they're not routed out of the way when you go to close up your master station, you can accidentally place them over the spot where the faceplate mounting screw comes through, and I've seen people run the screw through the cables, shorting out the wires that are inside of them. It's just something to be aware of. Here you can clearly see the black twin ribbon cable, and if you follow it down to the expansion terminal board, it's marked as connector CN1201, and just like all the other ones, you pull it and it will unplug. To the left of it, you have CN1206. That's the multicolored ribbon cable. This one also unplugs. And mounted up above is something rather different. You have this multiple wire cable. It's marked as CN1202. This does not unplug from the terminal board. This is permanently installed. It actually, if you follow it down, it will unplug from the bottom of the master. Here's the cable that comes from the expansion terminal board. On the end is a plug, and it plugs into a socket on the bottom edge of the circuit board for the power module. To unplug this, you grab all of the wires together and wiggle it to unplug it. After you've unplugged this cable, the cable stays with the expansion terminal board inside the wall housing. Now, if your installation has included an expansion module, it's now ready to be removed from the wall.